Good morning, traders, and welcome to this week's weekly market analysis, Monday the 19th of October. Let's just jump straight in this morning and we'll kick off with the Aussie US dollar. Let's have a look at what's been happening. Now, from last week, I remember that I had this line drawn in, and let me just zoom in a little bit better so that I can see. Okay, from memory, we had a trade trigger over here. Okay, we had one touch, two touches, three touches, and we had an inside candle situation. So this two candles that I'm highlighting there basically was a price action reversal pattern. And the way that we trade that, remember, we placed a pending order at the break of the inside candle in the downward direction with our stop just above there, and we can clearly see that this trade is, look at the distance, this has even gone very close to 3 times the distance of the stop. Okay, so this was a winning trade. For those of you who took that one, we should all be out of that. Well done. When I look at this chart right now, my next logical area of interest is down here somewhere. Okay, if we come down and I can produce again some kind of price action reversal on this level here. Now it's not a key level just yet because it's only been one bounce off that. However, if the market comes down here and produces inside this region a price action reversal, that improves the probability that it may reverse back up, and for me that would be good enough to attempt a trade at that level. Okay, so my plan for the Aussie US dollar this week is, let's wait for it. Let me just draw in a little shaded area here just to remind me when I look at this chart next. I want the price to move down towards me on somewhere on this possible support line, produced the reversal that we want, and then that would give me the trigger to attempt to trade back up that conversion triangle. Okay, all right, let's have a look at the Euro USD. Okay, what was I thinking on the Euro USD? Okay, what I had marked out this top level here to see if we could possibly get towards there to shoot down. Now we didn't quite get that high, so no dramas, nothing has happened on that front. Let me get rid of this line now. What I will note at the moment is that the previous high, we are lower. Okay, if I look at the lows, if this was to come down to there somewhere, for example, and make a low there and pull back up, at this point here, we definitely would be interested in some kind of a trend trade in a downward direction, and the trend would be established if we get to this level over here. Okay, at the moment we are sort of projecting forward, trying to see what may actually happen. It has not happened as yet. All I have at the moment is, let me rearrange this line. Let me just drop this in there. That's definitely turned, and let me grab this one and bring it down to this level. Okay, so similar to the Aussie dollar, what I could look for, what's going to be interesting is when we get to here. Okay, now if we produce price action reversal on that level, this would be a good reason to attempt to trade upwards. However, if we shoot straight through it, like I said, and we produce a low there, and then the market starts to come there, then we can forget about this line altogether. This one, we can forget about that one altogether, and we can look for that trend continuation. And the reason is because you look at the highs, they'll be getting lower, and you look at the lows, they're getting lower as well. Okay, so key for Euro USD this week is, let's see what occurs at, so let me just put this one in, what occurs over here. Okay, if we get the price action reversal, let's look to see if it looks nice. We'll attempt a long trade. Okay, we will attempt that trade. if we get some nice price action reversal. If we don't, then basically we scrap that idea and let's look for the trend continuation. Let's see if that plays out for us. All right, there you go. Let's have a look at the US yen. Okay, US yen, I've got this marked in from last week. These three candles here, look, let me zoom in on it so we can see it a bit better. These were the ones that I was looking for. Look, if this one here had an actual longer wick and it looked a bit like that, then definitely oops, let me just try and redraw that again. A bit difficult to draw with my mouse. Then definitely these three candles would be considered a reversal pattern. Okay, it's very much like a shooting star or a hammer type 3 candle pattern. Now, it doesn't have the long wick like I wanted, so we didn't take this trade. All right, so we didn't do anything. So for this week for the US yen, we're going to play the same pattern as with all the other ones. We're going to wait for it down the bottom over here. Let me just mark out this zone here somewhere. And what we want to see is the market come down towards us. If it can produce price action reversal, then we attempt to shoot it up. Now, one thing that I will say with this one compared to the Aussie US and the Euro US that we just looked at is if we get down to this level and we produce price action reversal with the US yen on this chart, it would have a higher probability because we've already had one confirmed and two confirmed bounces. Okay, so this line down the bottom is already considered established as a support line, whereas with the other two charts we didn't have two touches, so it's not a support line yet. So attempting to take that trade off that line with the other charts would be considered a little bit more aggressive. Let me quickly show you so that you understand what I mean. See, there's the Aussie US dollar. See, there's only one touch. Okay, this we do not know if it's going to be a bounce yet or not. Okay, so it's not confirmed, so it has a lower probability. Same thing for the Euro USD. It's got one touch here, and this second point that I've marked out is a question mark. We don't know. Okay, so very important to note. I'll go back to my US yen. With this one, we've got 1, 2. So this one, that line is locked in. All right, so it has a higher probability. So for example, if I get all three set up at the same time, I would prefer to take this one because this has a higher probability than the other two. Okay, remember, trading is just a numbers game. I'm not trying to predict what's going to happen. I don't really care what happens. I'm just trying to find what the charts are showing me that will provide me the highest probability. Okay, there you go. That's my US yen. Let's have a look at the GBP USD. Okay, let me zoom in so we can see it a bit better. I had marked out this top line last week. We did get there, but there's no reversal patterns occurring there. So that's okay. So no trades happened. And the reason that I had put that line in that particular position is because before that level there had shot up, and then we thought that maybe it would shoot down. Now, it actually did do that. However, we didn't get the price action reversal that we were looking for, so not to worry. What I will look at for the GBP USD is I'm going to flag this region down here, and again, very similar to the others. Let's see if we can come down there, produce something, and then shoot it up. Again, with this one, it's a question mark whether this line is actually a support line, because we've so far only had one time where we have shot off that level. Okay, very important to note that. But nevertheless, that is my plan. I'll leave that highlight there, and let's see what takes place on that one. Let's have a look at the US CAD. Okay, this is an interesting one. Very tempting at first sight that I look at this and I go, oh, look, there's a price action reversal. Let me just trade this one down. Okay, and you were saying trend down, so let's just continue with the trend. However, let me zoom out and let me just highlight a couple of, oops, wrong way, highlight a couple of things. First thing that I want to know is, yes, this is in trend, okay? However, this kick here produced a high over there, okay? Now for a trend to be continuing, this was the previous low. Once it produces that high, we would expect that low to come lower than this one, okay? Just like that one. So basically we're stepping down and stepping down, etc., etc., okay? So that is very, very important. What we note is that this low has actually gone in the opposite direction, okay? So we've had highs drop down and the lows go up. So in fact, what we're doing is the trading range is starting to converge. So it's starting to narrow in. So what I'll do is I'll just drop in a line just like this. Okay, and it's more likely that we are converging into a triangle as opposed to the trend continuing downward. Okay, or the trend wants to change direction and start to go in an upward direction. So what I can initially do is I will flag this area here, and I'm particularly interested to see what happens when the market gets there. Will it shoot back down? And if there is enough room to collect my profit from whatever the candle setup looks like, then I may be interested in shorting at that level there. Okay, let's keep those markings on my chart and let's move along. Let's see how that one plays out. Euro yen. Okay, my euro yen, a little bit similar. My highs are getting lower and my lows are getting higher, so my trading range is starting to narrow in on itself. Let's mark it. Okay, and let me zoom in. Okay, if I do that, I've actually got a reversal pattern right now. Those two candles there is an inside candle. So if I break the high there, let me just check if I've got enough room to collect my profits. Okay, give me 1 second. My stop would have to be around about 75 pips. And to the other side is about 75 to 80. Okay, what I'm doing is this. I was just talking in my mind. My entry would have to be there at the break if it pushes up. Okay, my stop would have to be there just below. So this distance here, I am trying to see if I have similar distance to there. Okay, because if I don't have enough distance, I'm thinking that I'm going to run into resistance on this top line, so there won't be enough room for me to collect my profit. It's very, very tight. I want to see a trade that's better than 1 to 1. Okay, I prefer to see a trade that is 1 to 2. All right, so risking 1 to make 2. Normally when I take these trades in the daily call or the weekly market analysis, I will collect some of my profit at the 1 to 1 point, and then I'll leave some of my trade in there to try and collect the higher 2 to 1 ratio type trade. Now with this particular one, I don't feel there's enough. Look, I'll leave it up to you. All right, there is a setup there. It's just going to be tight whether we can actually move enough to collect our at least 1 to 1 profit, which basically reduces the probability of the trade. The money ratio part doesn't play out as well. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. If we don't have enough room on this side, we're definitely going to have less room on the other side because we're getting narrower. So I would say if you want to take it, this is the one to take right now because it's only going to get narrower. And as it gets narrower, what we're going to have to wait for is we're going to have to wait for a breakout in either direction before we can start to look at this trading pattern more closer. Okay, what I will do is I'm just going to circle those two candles so that I remember that there was something there, and that's for next week. All right, so like I said, if for those of you that feel there's enough space for you to collect your target, we have a legitimate setup on the euro yen right now. You have to place your pending order at the break of the high of the inside candle over here where my mouse is right now, and don't forget, if it doesn't break the high but it breaks the low, you need to go back and cancel that order out. All right, Kiwi US dollar, what do we have here? Okay, I've got these bottom and top lines marked out. Why is my top line there? Okay, it's a previous high, I can see now. Okay, we're still trading inside that region right now, so what I would look for here is if I can get to the bottom, try to trade it up, or if I can get to the top of that region, try and trade it down. And there's plenty of room in this one to be able to collect your profits. Okay, so let's see, as the market comes to this bottom line, if I can produce price action reversal, I'm happy to trade up. And likewise, if it reaches the top of that resistance line up here, I'll just there, I'm happy to try and trade it down, provided that I get the price action reversal that I'm looking for. Okay, this one's straightforward. Let's have a look at the ASX 200. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so the ASX 200, we've been looking at this one for a while. It's been trading inside this range for a while. We produced an inside candle here last week. All right. However, what happened was that candle, what we were looking to do is trade downwards, but that candle broke the high, that wick there broke the high of the inside candle first, which basically cancelled out your pending order and then came back and broke the low. So we did not get triggered into this trade, and this is the beauty of trading it the way that I show you, because consequently what happened is the market continued to go up. All right, so it broke in the wrong direction, so that meant we did not take this trade at all. Okay, so now that we have come out of that region, let me zoom back out, and what we can look for now is if the market pushes up there, maybe comes back down, let's look for something in this area here to reverse, to continue in this direction. All right, that's what I'm basically looking for at this stage. There you go. That is the ASX 200 this week. Final one, gold. Let me have a look at gold. Okay, gold is continuing to converge. I did flag this last week. See, the highs we're getting lower, so it's getting tighter. Let me zoom in so we can see it a little bit better. Let me put some markings on. It's not the sweetest, it's all over the place, to be honest, but what we will need to wait for it to break out in either direction, and then that can set up the next phase of trading for gold. At the moment, I don't want to touch it. It's converging too much, and I need it to shoot off in one direction or the other so that I can establish the next phase of patterns that may come and may follow. All right, there you have it. That is gold for this week, and that is the market analysis. Let me have a quick look at what's on the agenda in terms of news. Just give me one moment. Let me get that up. Here we have it. The major, it's actually a relatively quiet week, but the major data to be released this week that we should be aware of happens on Friday. The affected currency is the euro, and we have the French flash services PMI and the German manufacturing and flash services PMI are due out on Friday. Okay, so look out for that. It happens at Friday evening, 6:15 p.m. and 6:30 respectively. There's not much else to highlight. Let's see what the markets bring this week. That pretty much wraps up. As always, guys, please feel free to contact us if you do have any questions. You can follow me on Twitter at ChatFX trade setups and breaking news. Most importantly, hope you all have a fantastic trading day. I'll speak to you tomorrow for the daily call. Bye for now.